Hey guys, update time. There we go. I think it is long overdue that I update you guys on some stuff, and then I also just want to generally tell you my feelings about it because this is about to be a big week. It is Monday, August 9th as I'm filming this, and you guys will see this on Friday, whatever date it is. Oh, not the 13th. Please tell me we don't have Friday the 13th this week. Oh no, we have Friday the 13th this week. Well, you'll see this on Friday the 13th. And the reason that the date is so relevant this time is because I'm filming now before this week plays out, and there's potential for a lot of things to play out this week because I finally got an abnormal blood test result, and I have appointments on appointments on appointments tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. So by the time you see this on Friday, I might have a lot more information about my general health situation, but as I'm filming right now, I just have a million questions, and you know that comes with a lot of feelings. So I'm here to give you guys an update on what's been going on. There are a lot of updates that, of course, my patrons know about, but that Instagram doesn't know about and that YouTube doesn't know about that you guys need to hear before I can even tell you about this blood test result, because you guys didn't even know about that doctor situation yet. And then feelings. I just want to give you guys some feelings that I'm having about the whole situation. And am I getting repetitive? Let's just do the song. Had to grab some water. First thing I want to tell you guys is that I just had a dentist appointment, and they had me laying super flat with my feet a little bit up, and my head was even tilted kind of backwards a little bit, which is fine. It's easier for the dentist and I can handle it for like 40 minutes, but I'm feeling pretty dizzy right now. I'm feeling a little bit out of it, a little bit spinny, so bear with me if I start to lose my train of thought or if I seem a little out of it. I don't know where I am right now. Like in the migraine cycle, I know where I am physically. What a weird life that I have to clarify that I'm aware of my own location. All right, YouTube, so here's where we left off with you. I'm definitely turning into Migraine Jen. Crap. Buddy did alert me, and then I just forgot. Where we left off with you was that neurologist lady who works closely with a CSF leak specialist. She got a report that my brain MRI was normal, and then she asked me to do a flat test, the 48-hour flat test, just because of my symptoms. Check out that video here. When the flat test was positive, meaning that I do have really big changes with changes in my position, she said that I should get a full spine MRI. But then I got the MRI images mailed to her as a CD, and once she saw the CD and she saw the images on the CD, she said, well, your brain MRI is normal, so I don't know if it's really worth doing the full spine MRI. And that really confused me because nothing really changed. The MRI had already been read as normal. The flat test was positive. So going back to before the flat test, but the MRI is normal thing, and using that to justify not doing this non-invasive test was a little bit off-putting to me. No matter how I try to say this next sentence, it comes out a little bit rude, but that just didn't seem like the kind of doctor that I wanted to have on my team. It's concerning to me when logic dots don't add up, and in addition, this doctor didn't want to do any further testing of any kind. So we're going right back to that, well, you're SOL, good luck, sorry, but I've got pills for you if you want those later. Many of you saw my video talking about that and saw my video about other people, the neurosurgeon and all these other doctors that I've been to who have been a little bit strange with me and have recommended that I go get another doctor. And newsflash, I don't post everything online. I have seen many other doctors that you guys have no idea about, including the team of doctors actually, that ordered this test that finally came back abnormal. I'm not going to beat around the bush any longer than I already have. The blood test result that's most alarming to me that came back abnormal is that I had very low IgE. I actually have other blood tests that have come back abnormal in the past. Did I say abnormal? I don't know if I said that sentence right. This is not the only abnormal test that I got. The other ones that have been abnormal in the past were either found by my PCP, and I supplement for that, or there was another one that I actually just found out was abnormal from a previous neurologist that I saw back in 2019, and he just never told me that they were abnormal And so those have just been sitting in my LabCorp results bin for 2 years, rotting. But those popped up when I logged in to find this result, and I actually went to log in to find this result because I had weeks in between when my blood test was and when the follow-up test was, and I did not want to wait. I am trying to keep a good amount of this vague. I do want to keep a lot of this private. Especially because at this point, we don't know what it means. Low IgE on its own is not a definitive diagnosis of anything. It does have some implications for immune deficiency, autoimmune, CVID. Unfortunately, there are some risk factors for cancer if you're ultra low, which I am. My actual value was less than 2. I was below the limit of detection, so we don't know exactly what that means. I might be very low, I might not have any. But this is the antibody that is involved in cancer surveillance, and so since I don't have it, I could be at way increased risk, and that would be probably the worst news to get out of all of this. But we're gonna take it a step at a time and not try to cross bridges before we come to them. But yes, I'm aware of that. Let's flip this to a funny story. You guys remember that doctor who was like super rude, dropped an F-bomb, called me honey, was like, there's no way, blah, blah, blah. You just have allergies. Guys, IgE is the antibody that's like allergen response. So what this means is that that neurosurgeon literally could not have been more wrong. Like, clinically, I have the opposite of allergies. I have no allergen antibody. Hilarious, right? My alarm's about to go off for my live chat. I want to snooze it. Hold on. I forget what I was talking about. I guess at this point, I kind of want to talk to you guys about how I feel about this whole situation. It's kind of overwhelming to wait for blood test results. And then even when you have blood test results, it's overwhelming to wait for whatever's to come next. I mean, there's a lot at stake here. And being in this situation is one thing, but being in this situation with an audience is a whole nother thing. You see, when I started my YouTube, I was gung-ho set on I just have migraine. It wasn't until I started my YouTube that someone said, hey, I don't think you just have migraine. And then I was like, oh, actually, you know what? You might be onto something. I might not just have migraine. Something else might be triggering migraine. And that's what started this goose chase. This whole channel was just meant to be educational about migraine disease and ways to cope and being a good example of someone who can like really push through with migraine and have a great life. It's meant to be inspirational. But what it's turned into is a very delicate balancing act between sharing enough with you guys that you know roughly what I'm going through, but also withholding enough that I maintain my sanity and I'm able to go through this in private so that I don't need to worry about the things that people say online. So what exactly do I feel? I feel impatient. I can't even say that it's an anxious feeling. It's really just an impatient feeling. It's like being in the 3rd trimester and you just want the baby to come. It's like when something exciting is in the mail, but it keeps getting delayed. Except for the thing that I'm waiting for this time has huge implications for my health. You guys know that I'm very disabled in general on just a day-to-day basis, but I'm honestly not 100% honest with the way that things have progressed ever since I did my flat test a few months ago. For the past couple of months, I've been having some other weird symptoms that I just haven't mentioned on YouTube because they haven't fit the continuity of the videos that I've been posting. One thing I didn't realize before I was a YouTuber myself is there's a certain continuity to a channel. There's a certain story that's being told. And you can't interrupt that story too much because then your audience just gets jumbled. It gets really confusing. So when I update you guys on things, I follow a really logical, straight path. We've jumped doctors together a couple of times. I've, mentioned here and there spots of other doctors where it was just a one-off appointment and it's a funny story or it's a really great lesson about medical gaslighting. I'll put that card here. Stuff like that. Stuff like that I can work in. But there are other things where it's going to be a several months process. And with those kinds of things, I can't announce the thing and then ghost on it, and then if some hiccup pops up that's personal, that's heavily, heavily personal, and I don't want to share it, I'm going to be getting bombarded with messages about like, oh, hey, that thing, you were going to follow up in a couple of months. What happened to that? I can't handle that. Humans can't handle that. We're not made for this much back and forth, or for this much advice, for this much stimulation. I don't know how to describe it. Certain things you just can't really do in the spotlight, and like my spotlight isn't even that big, and I don't know how big my channel is going to get, so I have to maintain some privacy. Another thing that happens as a YouTuber is if you explain too many of your symptoms, then people try to diagnose you, or they ask you if you looked into certain things. And I've mentioned a million times that that is both a blessing and a curse. So as my symptoms have progressed over the last few months, I have deliberately decided to not update you guys on the progressions of my symptoms, because just for my sanity, for my mental health, this year has been a lot. And I didn't feel ready to deal with the flood of YouTube comments that were gonna come in. One of the things that I've been hiding is that I have been slowly losing feeling in my extremities. It started out as me thinking that it was just migraine Jen's paralysis getting worse or lasting a little bit longer or being slower onset, but it's happening to not migraine Jen now as well. And we're at the point where probably 60% of the day I can't really feel my feet, and I have had my legs buckle from underneath me a couple of times. Things like that. I can tell that I'm progressing. I can tell that I am declining. And that's not something that I haven't really been ready to share. But what that means is also that I've been really pushing harder than ever to get answers on what could be underlying now, because it's becoming pretty freaking undeniable. And now I finally have this team of doctors who ordered this test, got me this abnormal result, and hopefully in my appointments in the next couple of days, I'll be able to learn more about what's going on. I want to address something that has happened to me on here, and I think happens to other disabled people online too, and it makes people less open to opening up about their disabilities. I haven't had a lot of people message me with stuff like this, or comment with stuff like this, but I've had a couple people tell me that I'm just being a hypochondriac, that I really need to just stop dwelling on this, and I need to stop talking about it, and just go do some yoga, meditate, and manifest better things in my life. And that's a load of hoopla. For starters, I'm making lemonade out of these damn lemons. Migraine Jen is a person that I'm kind of becoming proud of. She's a good person, functional. I've learned to really push through things, and a lot of that is because I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn. I don't trust star signs wholeheartedly, but that one you can trust. I'm a stubborn Taurus. I was not going to let this win, and especially now that I've got my kiddo, I can't let this win. I forget getting migraine, and I forgot where this started. Oh yeah, we're meditating. I do a lot of things in my life. I'm very active in my life. I went ahead and planned to have children. I've done RV road trips. I've done vacations. Migraine Jen's been all over the place. I'm not letting this stop my life. It certainly runs my life, and that's the problem. It runs my life, my whole family's life, but it's not stopping my life. And there's certainly an argument that you can dig yourself into a hole looking at symptoms and anxiety-inducing stuff and giving yourself panic attacks and all that, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is my feet are just randomly going numb, or I'm randomly getting vertigo, or I'm randomly getting these weird drips out of my nose while my ears are popping, and that's not freaking normal. And it doesn't matter if I'm distracted or what I ate. It's weird. It's not normal, and we should try to figure out why it's happening. Let me read the definition of a hypochondriac. Where is it? A person who is abnormally anxious about their health. I'm not anxious. I'm just digging. Having scary symptoms that could mean that you have something life-threatening would make anybody feel anxious. Example, you go full paralyzed on a side of your face, tell me you're not worried about a stroke, you're shitting me. For the severity of the symptoms that I'm having and how often they happen, I should be way more anxious than I am. So I'm lucky that I have a skin that's thick enough to deal with people being online being like, no, you're just a hypochondriac. Because I know I'm not a hypochondriac, but I know that there are a ton of disabled people out there who are questioning themselves every day because of people like those internet trolls telling them that they're just complaining or that they're just being anxious. And the reason this is coming up in this video is because I just got an abnormal blood test result. And I'm like, maybe the internet will believe me now. Maybe my doctors will believe me now. Maybe my family will believe me now. Maybe all my friends will believe me now. Especially the people like doctors who are supposed to help. It's too bad that steps like this make me be like, oh, maybe I'm credible now. Like, how effed up is it that disabled people feel like that? And it's so many disabled people. I know I'm not alone with this. Put it in the comments if you've felt like this, or if you've heard of disabled people feeling like this. We're just constantly being told that we're faking it, or that we're overreacting. And it's like, man, just ask how I'm doing. Offer to help. Don't be rude. Gosh. And it's ironic because it's always people on the internet complaining to you that you're complaining about being this sick. And it's like, I mean, I don't have a choice to be this sick. You have a choice to not leave a mean comment. You have a choice to not say something that isn't adding anything to the conversation. Whereas me, my complaining is helping people. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages from people saying that they feel less alone. I've gotten really incredible messages from people who say that they were diagnosed with chronic migraine 20 years ago and they bought it and they've just been living with it the way that I've been living with it for 5 years. But then they saw my channel and they learned about leaks and then they were like, oh my gosh, I might have a leak. And then they found a leak and then they got cured. My complaining, this complaining on the internet is literally helping people get diagnosed. That's amazing. That's an amazing silver lining to me being sick, and it's just something incredible. It gives my life purpose. And mean comments calling people hypochondriacs don't have any purpose. It doesn't make me feel good, and it probably doesn't make you feel good. It certainly doesn't make you look good. So I'm really curious about whether this abnormal blood test result is finally going to make those comments stop happening. You know, now that there's a number. Someone proved it. Someone proved that I've been symptomatic for 5 years. Now, guys, I realize that was a passionate rant. I realize that got passionate. I don't have a particular comment in mind or person in mind right now. I'm not fired up about that. I'm just a little bit fired up about the fact that I'm so worried about whether or not people believe that I'm sick. And I'm also just dying to know what other information I'm going to learn from the upcoming tests this week and the appointments this week because, again, just huge implications for my family. I don't know what's going to happen after this week. I have no idea what happens after this. Let's go back to my feelings about what's going on this week. I'm a little bit nervous about what the heck could be going on in my body. Absolutely. I'm mostly nervous about what the future is going to look like after these appointments. I'm not that nervous about me being sick because I feel really solid in myself. I feel good. I've been spending a lot of time focusing on self-care and just, oh my gosh, come on, Migraine Jen. Go away, Migraine Jen. I guess centering myself and having self-awareness, being aware of my body and the physical sensations within my body so that I can feel really grounded through all of this as my symptoms and things get weirder and weirder. I don't even know what I'm trying to talk about. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not afraid of me and what's going to happen to me. I'm just really impatient to find it out. It's kind of the way I've been feeling this whole time. When I saw that I had undetectable IgE and then I did a quick Google and there were scary things, I closed it. I was like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to know because I don't know what my diagnosis is yet. I don't have the information required to find the diagnosis that could fit because there are other tests that haven't been done yet. So it's literally impossible for me to know just based on this test what could be going on in my body. So I figure it's useless to try to figure it out. It's useless to scare myself Googling it, but I had to Google it just a little bit and I found that cancer stuff, but also, there's autoimmune things. I know autoimmune things can be progressive. They can be put on hold a little bit. Depends on the disease, so it would depend on what I have. I know very little about antibody deficiency. I don't know if it's something that you can just supplement and you're fine. I don't know what I have, so I don't know if that would be the path. I guess long story short is what I'm wondering is this something where they're going to say, crap, that sucks. Yeah, so now you just let it progress and then you're going to die. Or is this the kind of thing where they're going to say, wow, it's a good thing we caught this. Now we can reverse all your organ damage and just supplement the antibody and then you're fine. And the difference between those, the implications are huge. They're huge for me, obviously. Huge for my family, huge for my kid, future kids too, huge for Buddy. And I might get to find out this week. And I might not get to find out this week. That's the worst part. I don't even know if I'm going to find out this week. It's not like the doctor's going to tell me tomorrow whether or not I have cancer. The doctor's going to maybe tell me what I have tomorrow, or maybe tell me to get more testing, and the testing might take 2 more days, or the testing might take 8 more weeks. Or this doctor could be a total dud and just drop my case again, and then I'm back to square one. Do you see why this is so annoying? Why this is such a hard situation to be in? And then factor in the fact that I get so confused and I have such bad memory loss that makes it hard for me to process emotions. That makes it hard for me to process feelings because I can't really remember things well from day to day. I need to process things myself when I'm feeling well, and then I also need to process them when I have a migraine because that's a totally separate memory bank. And so it can be mentally and emotionally draining to find that inner strength, to keep going, to keep pushing, and to keep reassuring myself that everything's going to be fine. I know everything's going to be fine, but that doesn't mean that there's any less turmoil going on with this. It kind of makes me think of when I had the miscarriage. It's not that I didn't think that everything was going to be fine. It's that I had to process it first. And so that's kind of what I'm doing now. It really just hit me yesterday, Sunday, like 2 days before the appointment, that my appointment is this week. I've been waiting for like a month or two for these appointments. Because when I spoke to this doctor on the phone, she was so loving and she was so caring, and she really cared a lot about how I was feeling because she has actually had POTS before. She had it for 10 years and she's cured now. And so now she really has a passion for helping people like me who may actually be helpable. I'm excited for her. I'm excited for these appointments, and I really want to get the show on the road. This week kind of snuck up on me, and now I'm feeling a little overwhelmed that it's like tomorrow, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more excited, and I don't think I'm gonna sleep tonight. And it's not because I'm anxious, it's because I'm impatient. It's because I've gotta know the fate of my family. I'm dying to know the fate of myself, and I know that it probably isn't all gonna be answered this week, but a lot might be narrowed out this week. Narrowed down. A lot might be narrowed down this week. Or maybe I will have an answer this week. Or maybe I'll get to have an answer in a couple of months, or I'll get an answer next year. Maybe I'll get an answer. It's like being 38 weeks pregnant, right? You're like, maybe I'm gonna have a baby today, but maybe I'm gonna be pregnant for another month. I don't know. Being in limbo sucks. Nobody likes being in limbo. So, I guess that's it. That's it for my rant, for my feelings. I can't even really remember everything that I've said. I feel like I'm there, but I'm like 5-minute memory there, that kind of range. Anyway, happy Friday the 13th. I hope that by the time you see this, I am very happy with an answer, but who freaking knows? If you're dying to find out, Patreon is the only way. They have been up to date on this for like a month or two. They're gonna always be about a month or two ahead of YouTube. Or if you're more curious about our day-to-day, go ahead and head over to Instagram stories. I do post little snapshots there. It's usually not a very contiguous story, but if you're interested in more things, what we do on our day-to-day basis, Instagram's the place for that. Patreon for updates, Instagram for fun. This is way longer than I meant for it to be, as always, but hopefully it went okay. Hopefully that was good. Love you guys. Wish me luck. It's gonna be fine. And no matter what happens this week, the best is yet to come. I do sincerely believe that. See ya.